1011, 25 FB 1003, and 25 FB 1002. Council, please state your appearances for the record.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Katie Rosmersky for the people.
Good afternoon, Mayor. Please, this honorable court, Kareem Johnson, on behalf of Ms. Vincent, who's standing in my immediate right.
All right, state your name, please. All right, thank you. You may be seated. All right, date and time set for preliminary examination. Are the parties ready to proceed?
People are, Your Honor.
You may call your first witness.
Your Honor, may I place some preliminary items on the record? Thank you very much. Court having called all three cases, my assumption is that the court is comfortable with us running all three prelims together as they're sort of part and parcel of the same investigation.
My understanding is that that's what we were going to do. I don't know, Mr. Johnson, did you have any objection to that? I thought we dealt with that the last.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, very
wonderful.
good. That's fine.
Thank you, Judge. Also placing the court and counsel on notice that we do not intend any longer to proceed on with count 4 RNC of a motor vehicle on file number 25 FB 1002. Also would like to place the court and counsel on notice that we will likely be seeking to add a count 11 of armed robbery, which is MCL 50.529, and that would be as to file 25 F3 0011. That is the homicide file, and that would be to comport with the anticipated testimony and proofs, and also to comport with the charges that were bound over for the two co-defendants in this matter.
Gotcha. You said a count 5?
11, I think.
Well, no, that was count 11, but previous to that, you said you don't intend to proceed on count 5?
Count 4, Judge.
Okay, count 4.
I said 5, I misspoke. Apologies.
Yeah, I don't have a count 5, so. All right.
And whenever the court is ready for me to proceed, I do have, I believe, several stipulations.
All right, very good. Go ahead.
Thank you. My understanding is that counsel is willing to stipulate for purposes of preliminary examination, and specifically this would pertain itself to counts 2 and 3 in that same file, 25 FB-1002. That defendant does have a conviction for controlled substance possession of cocaine, heroin, or another narcotic, less than 25 grams. That actually is a conviction date of January 19th, 2017, and it comes from Wayne County.
2017.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that a correct statement?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
And Your Honor, is further my understanding that counsel is willing to stipulate to the admission of the autopsy reports in this matter. I have marked them as people's proposed exhibits 1 and 2. Number 1 is the autopsy report for Jennifer Bernhardt, and number 2 is the autopsy report for Stevie Smith.
Is that a correct statement?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
All right. So without further ado, I'll just do this. I will, those being marked, I will admit by stipulating the exhibits 1 and 2.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I approach?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. That's all that I have preliminary place on the record.
Anything preliminarily for defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right, very good. You can call your first witness.
Thank you, Judge. Call Jeffrey Bernhardt. Raise your right hand.
Spell your name out.
Jeffrey Allen Bernhardt, K-E-Y-A-L-A-N. B as in boy, E-R-N-H-A-R-D.
All right, you may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Bernhardt, good afternoon. Do you remember January 1st? Do you remember how you spent that day?
Yes.
Where did you spend that day?
At our home,
What is that address?
2053 Albert Bend Road, Moore Lake, Michigan, 48189.
That here in Washtenaw County.
Correct.
Who did you spend?
A single false statement might sound small, but in court, it spreads like poison. Every lie demands another lie to survive, until the entire story collapses under its own weight. That's when the judge leans forward, the lawyer hesitates, and everyone suddenly knows someone just told the wrong truth.
That day with?
So at home was my wife, my daughter, my foster daughter, and my father-in-law lives with us.
So let's run through their names if we could.
My wife's name is Jennifer Bernhardt. Daughter's name is Elizabeth. Foster daughter is True Vincent. Stevie Smith.
On that date, how old were Olivia and True?
Olivia was 9 at the time. True was 4.
What did you guys do that day?
So that was New Year's Day. We were basically taking a quiet day at home. We had family over the night before on New Year's Eve. Like 15 or 20 people in our home, had dinner, spent the time with family. So it was a lot of work preparing for that day and up to that. So we just decided to have a quiet day at home, cleaning up after the night before, and didn't do much that was significant outside of just being at home.
You recognize, sir, that you were here to talk about a very significant incident that happened that day, correct?
Right.
Excuse me one moment, counsel.
Yes.
So could you move them from counsel prosecutor? You may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. What time of day did that incident take place?
As I recall, it was early evening. Pretty sure it was after dinner. We had leftovers, but it was before the girls started their bedtime routine.
So sometime after dinner, but before bedtime.
Yes.
Okay. And being that time of year, I would imagine it was dark outside.
Yes.
What did you do after dinner?
So, after dinner, what I recall, the girls were just playing. We cleaned up after dinner, and I went upstairs to do something. I don't remember exactly what. It wasn't anything that was significant enough to remember.
And did something catch your attention?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So I was in our bedroom, and our bedroom is over the garage. And in our bedroom that's attached to or in the bathroom that's attached to our bedroom, there's a window that overlooks the driveway. I had heard the noise outside, so I went into the bathroom, looked out the window, and I saw a car outside in our driveway that I didn't recognize.
Can you describe the car at all? Do you recall it at all?
I didn't really get a good look looking down from above. Didn't get a really good look at it.
Do you remember what the sound was that caught your attention?
No, it was, it was obviously the car. Whether it was a car door or something like that, but I did hear something in the driveway.
So you look down, you see this car that you don't recognize. What did you do next?
So I left the bathroom, walked down the hall and walked down the stairs. And my wife was right at the bottom of the stairs near our front entrance. And I told her, I said, there's somebody in their house. And we live on a private road in cul-de-sac, so, it's not too often we get cars. However, her response to me was that it's likely an Amazon delivery because we still had a few, things we had ordered for Christmas that hadn't arrived.
Sometimes the most powerful testimony isn't spoken at all. It's in the hesitation, the side glance, the tightening jaw. The defense calls it composure. The prosecution calls it guilt. But we call it what it is: fear, fighting to stay hidden. And in a courtroom, fear is its own kind of confession.
Yeah, even though it was past Christmas, so it just made sense that it was an Amazon delivery, and typically in the evenings, it was, from what we noticed, the Amazon trucks deliver during the day, and then they typically have private individuals deliver, so if there was a car or a private vehicle, it made sense that it was an Amazon delivery.
So what did you do at that point?
So that just made sense to me. So I told my wife, I said, okay, I'll go get it. And I walked through our kitchen, towards the garage door. Typically, the Amazon delivery, they drop something off like right in our garage. So my intention was to go get the package and go through the garage.
And did you make it all the way to the door?
No.
Did something happen?
Yeah, so at that moment, I walked through the kitchen, and before I was even able to put my shoes on to walk outside, I heard, excuse me, I heard commotion, some noises, coming from the front door area, and then I heard, some screams.
Can you describe for us what commotion and noises you heard coming from the front door area?
So I heard some, like, what I describe as like some thuds or some banging, and then, like I said, quickly after that, I heard screams from little girls and my wife.
Can you describe those screams?
Sure. The screams from the girls didn't, we have, having two girls in the house playing, they oftentimes, are loud and screaming, so that didn't really catch me off guard. But at the same time, my wife screamed, and her scream distinctly, and I can hear it in my head right now, was a scream of horror and fear. And I immediately knew that there was something seriously wrong.
Was anybody saying any words?
So when I heard the scream, I immediately turned around and walked back into the kitchen and saw three individuals in the house with weapons, and they were, yelling, get down, the typical things that you would think that people breaking into your home with weapons would say, telling them to be quiet, trying to get control of the situation.
Can you describe those individuals that you saw?
So initially as I walked to the kitchen and they were in the living room, it was three African Americans, two male and one female.
Did you know any of them?
So before I even saw their faces, I knew that this was, I didn't know the two males, but I knew the female being Siobhan Jensen.
How did you know that?
So we were made aware of threats through family court as being her foster parents, that she made threats that she would come to our house and take her daughter. So that was in the back of my mind, that it was actually discussed just a few weeks prior to that in family court. So that was in our mind that there was that threat. So, so just when I saw 3 individuals breaking in their homes with guns, I knew instantly it was her.
And when you turned around and saw them, did that confirm what you had suspected?
Yes.
That individual, Siobhan Vinson, the mother of True, your foster daughter, is she here in court today?
Yes.
Can you point please to where she's sitting and tell us what she's wearing?
She's wearing, sorry, my color vision, but she's wearing a shirt with a white undershirt underneath. She's sitting at the table.
Thank
Right.
you.
Is she seated to your right or left at the table?
She's seated to my left.
All right, very good. Go ahead.
Thank you. Your Honor, will the record reflect that the witnesses both pointed to and identified the defendant?
Without objection, record shows so.
You can feel it under the polished wood, behind the paperwork. It's not law that drives these trials. It's ego, fear, revenge, and hope, all tangled into one ticking moment. Every glance is a calculation. Every word is a weapon. This isn't justice. It's war in slow motion.
Reflect.
Thank you. You said you saw these 3 individuals and you also saw weapons.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So I saw Miss Vinson holding what looked, I'm not a weapons expert, but what looked like it was a handgun. I would describe it as something similar to a 9mm. The other 2 individuals looked what I would describe as longer guns. Don't know what type.
What were they doing with those guns?
So, so that happened. I mean, the first interaction was them just trying to come in and control the situation. And I mean, the first thing that happened was Miss Vinson turned towards me, with her gun pointed, and told me to sit down in the corner of the kitchen, right around on the other side of the a refrigerator. And so I was the first one to kind of told to sit down, and she quickly pointed the gun towards my wife and told my wife to come and sit next to me. And then, from what I could see, the other 2 defendants were kind of getting control of the girls. My father-in-law was in our den, which is a small room right by the front door. And at some point, they brought him out into the kitchen and had him lay down.
Lay down how?
I didn't see necessarily how they had him lay down.
Did you hear?
Yeah, I can hear them kind of giving him orders to get, to get over here and lay down.
Okay. And what about the girls? Were you aware at that point of where they were?
Yeah, they were both in the living room. And for context, our house has an open floor plan, so the kitchen, dining room, and living room are all open from one end to the other.
What happens after the defendant has ordered both you and your wife to sit down in the kitchen by the fridge at gunpoint?
Well, she stood very close to us, leaning against our stove, and kind of took control of the whole situation from there, and stayed there pretty much the whole time, and had in a very aggressive way had conversations with us, and yelling at us and accusing us of things, and doing several things throughout the night. She was also, it was very clear that she she wanted to be in charge, and she was in charge of the two other defendants. making sure-
Speculation, yeah.
Sustained.
Can you tell us what she was saying to the other two?
She was saying things like, she told them to get my father-in-law and bring him to the kitchen. There were a few things she said that I didn't necessarily hear, but I remember her being upset with one of them doing something that she didn't like, and she kind of corrected them, or yeah, and things like that, telling them to go upstairs, things like
Do you know why she told them to go upstairs?
no.
Okay.
And she also, at the end of the event, there were things like my dog was right next to me, because he was a puppy and he was very afraid, and she ordered them to come and grab the dog and take him outside. She also, towards the end, brought her daughter and told them to bring her outside, and she had to come and get her coat and actually walk across us to get her coat. And she ordered the two men to do those things.
Do you remember anything else she might have ordered them to do?
Not that I recall.
Okay. I think you also said she was yelling at you and your wife, maybe accusing you of things. Did I hear that right? Yes. Can you tell us the things that she was saying that you remember?
So specifically, she was focused on one particular accusation related, and she was focused on my wife, accusing her of not letting True believe in God, and basically calling us evil and demonic and things like that, because we wouldn't let her believe in God, and just calling us.
A courtroom doesn't just reveal who's guilty, it reveals who we are. Every decision reflects our fears, our biases, our need to see order in chaos. Sometimes the verdict says more about society than the defendant. Justice, after all, is just a reflection of the people who demand it.
Evil people that we were a part of the system, that we all took her daughter, and things of that nature.
Is that true that you didn't let True believe in God?
Absolutely not. The irony of it is it's the opposite, because my father-in-law is an ordained pastor. My wife, up until she became a full-time mother, she also was an ordained minister with the Assemblies of God. We attend church every Sunday morning and every Wednesday night. We brought whole girls to church. They were involved in kids' church and Sunday school. Every night, part of our bedtime routine is we would sit down and read the Bible and read one or two books with each girl before we went to bed, and then even for True, even tucking her into bed at night. She slept on a loft bed, and I would, either my wife or I would stand there and we would sing Christian songs to her to help her go to sleep.
How were you and your wife responding to this assault, to being yelled at and gun pointed at you and accused of things?
There's actually hearsay as to what the wife said.
judge any of it would be an excited utterance, present sense impression. He's there just asking for how they responded.
Overruled.
Thank you.
Mayor, go ahead.
So, it was very, very interesting. I sat there and I remember looking, I was right in front of the garage door, and I remember focusing on the hinge of the door, and I thought to myself, and I was praying, and I thought to myself, why am I not afraid? And I was kind of surprised at the fact that I wasn't obviously I was afraid, but I wasn't terrified and afraid like you would think. And I attribute that to my faith in God, and that He was helping both of us, all of us that night. But I tried to stay relatively calm, and I noticed my wife, some of the responses that she was saying. We were trying to, in a calm way, try to de-escalate the situation and try to answer the accusations and explain some of the things that she was saying to us, that she was obviously misunderstanding something or believed something that wasn't true. And I was trying to cooperate with some of her demands related to the money, and just trying to calm the situation down and hoping that she would just leave. And my wife, my wife is probably one of the most non-confrontational people that I've ever known. She doesn't like conflict, even if it's something simple. But she too tried to remain calm and answer in a way that she was trying to calm Ms. Vincent down and respond cooperatively, as to not aggravate or provoke in a calm demeanor.
Did any of that work?
It seemed to agitate even more. Anytime we would say anything, try to explain, it made Miss Vincent even more upset and more aggressive.
Did she at any point talk to you about some kind of a plan?
Yes, the beginning of the conversation, she was making these assertions about, in a very aggressive way, how she would use words like, I'm a gangster, and
Everyone swears they remember, but memory bends under pressure. It becomes a tool, a weapon, or a shield. The prosecution wants certainty. The defense thrives on doubt. And in between those two blades stands the truth, shaking, trying to survive the story being told about it.
I planned this all out, and she stated things like, I don't care if I spend the rest of my life in jail. I still have the ability to harm you, even behind bars. Made statements like that, and it was very clear that she wanted that she was in charge, and that she wanted us.
Speculation.
I'm going to overrule that one. I think he's been enough foundation as to what his conclusion may be. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it was clear to me that she wanted us to believe that she had power over us, and that that she was not just some person who just did this on a whim, that she had been planning it, and that everything that she was doing was orchestrated in a way. And in a way that seemed like she was trying to intimidate us further and make us afraid.
I believe I heard you testify a moment ago that at some point she also brought up money. Did I hear that right?
Right.
Tell us about that.
So at one point after, getting through the conversation, we call it a conversation, but getting through a lot of the accusations and all that, she turned and said, where do you keep the money? And my response was that where I was sitting was, as I mentioned, was right in front of the garage, the door out to the garage, and on the wall I keep my keys and my wallet right by the door. And so I told her, I said, well, my wallet's right there. I think I have a couple $100 in it. Said, please, take that. I mentioned, we just had Christmas, so probably the most expensive gift we got for the girls or for my daughter was a Nintendo Switch, which was like $300 or $400. So I said, I mentioned that. I was like, there's a Nintendo Switch, you can take that. And she wasn't interested in that. And I think even one of the other defendants kind of laughed it off, like that was, they didn't want anything to do with that. That wasn't, real money. So she said, where's the other money? And we don't have a safe with thousands of dollars in it in our house. So I said, it's in the bank. And somehow the conversation turned to how can we get that money? And I said something. I said I have a Venmo app, but I believe that the limit for transfer is like $500, something like that. And I said something along the lines that even if I were to go down to the bank to try to get out a large sum of money, it would, from my understanding, it would be a process. It wouldn't just be them handing me a lot of money. It's a large amount, so I was trying to say, I don't know what you want me to do per se. And so at that point, she took my wallet and the credit cards, and she already had my phone. She took all of our phones when she had us sit down. And so she stood there with the gun in one hand, my phone in the other hand, and she demanded me to give her my bank password. So she stood there for however long it took, and I found out later she transferred a total of $6,000 out of my account in two transfers, one for $5,000, for $1,000.
Through the use of a particular app?
Yeah, it was through Zelle, because I guess, which I didn't know, that Zelle can have a higher amount to transfer.
At some point, did you get your wallet or did she get your wallet?
Yeah, she took my wallet and took the credit cards out of my wallet.
If you said that already and I missed it, I apologize. So you watched her take your wallet from the shelf and take the credit cards out.